Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio on May 22nd, 2023. Thanks so much for being with us today. We do appreciate it. Okay, we love having you here listening to us as we talk about all the things that are so important in pre-K-12 education these days. Today we've got a wonderful show about a very special tool to enhance equity through parent engagement that's already being used in thousands of schools nationwide. It's from Parent Square. We've got the founder of Parent Square, Anupama Vaid, and I'm hoping I pronounced your name right, Anu. Okay, the V-A-I-D is the way you spell your last name, so you'll help me when I bring you on. But Anu is the founder and president of Parent Square, where she oversees all the aspects of the company, and she came up with the idea for Parent Square when her children were young, after seeing the need for better and more equitable communication between schools and families. And oddly, we did a show just earlier today about the need for better communication, especially when dealing with people with any cultural or linguistic differences in special education. So it's a family engagement day today here at Education Talk Radio, and you're going to learn all about Parent Square in just a few minutes at parentsquare.com if you want to go over there and check it out. I wanted everybody to know that the nominations are now open for the 2023 Excellence in Equity Awards that we sponsor. And all you have to do is go over to ace-ed.org. That's our home website, and go /awards, and you'll see everything you need to see. There were 160 plus nominees and over 50 winners in 2022, and now we're open for 2023. We're looking to highlight and celebrate even more contributions this year. On our website, again, ace-ed.org, where we will archive this podcast, where our magazine, Equity and Access, exists. If you go over to ace-ed.org/awards, you'll find 29 categories dedicated to companies and organizations and products and leaders, along with 15 categories for educators, paraprofessionals, and support staff of all roles. 20 of the categories are all new this year, so be sure to check them out. And by the way, one of our winners last year was our guest today, Parent Square. The nomination process is open until August 4th, but right now, May 22nd is the best time. The early bird period, it goes until June 2nd, and that gives companies that want to engage with us the best pricing, okay, till June 2nd. But you can nominate till August 4th. You can go over to ace-ed.org/awards or email awards@ace-ed.org with any questions, and we're happy to help you. And now, without further ado, let me bring on my very special guest. Okay, and let's see, it's circling. Here we go. Anu, welcome to the show. My name's Larry. How are you today?
Hi, Larry. Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me here.
Believe me, it is my pleasure. And please pronounce your last name properly for me so I can introduce you properly.
Yes. So I go by Anu, and my last name is Vaid.
Vaid, thank you. It sounds just like said. It's the words S-A-I-D. This is V-A-I-D.
Yes.
I wasn't sure, so thank you, Anu. I appreciate that. Okay. Yep. A wonderful company here. You're working with thousands of schools across the country. You're a firm believer in parent engagement. And I'll tell you today, as I said, we did a show about the need for this, particularly special education, and all the linguistic and cultural differences that add up over the years. So it's really, really important that we talk about all this. And I know beyond just your company, you're very interested in education. So just talk about what you see as the state of education, public education today, okay, as we go talk about parentsquare.com, your wonderful company. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you, Larry. It's good to hear that you've been talking about, family engagement and,
absolutely,
equity across special education. So, as for the state of education, I actually find it moving in a very positive direction. Many years ago, it was really focused around when we were growing up, like rote learning, and it was really reliant on the classroom. But now with technology, the access to education is just incredible. And,
absolutely.
And also, the focus is like the educators today are talking about these, what they call the 21st century learning skills. focusing on communication, which we all know is very important, and that's what Parent Square is very much about, and collaboration. The 4 C's, they call it, the communication, collaboration, developing critical thinking, and creativity. So those, we can see go a long way, because today, as you know, with, Google and now ChatGPT, is like knowledge is no longer power, but how to actually find that knowledge when you need it, and is really important. So, so that shift is happening even in schools, and they're talking about it, how to personalize the learning for families, and also, addressing those inequity barriers, which, obviously you'll talk about more.
Yeah.
But, it's really good to see that schools are talking. However, at the same time, I also think that as we go and, in this rapidly changing world, I feel like we haven't even really understood the impact of having 24-hour access to internet, having phones in students' hands. Like, schools are still struggling with whether they should allow phones in classrooms or not. And now we are presented with the AI promise and generative AI, like, hey, whether we should allow that or not. So the
and I didn't mention this, but this is important. We're talking about the use of technology. I want everybody to know this. You have a degree in computer engineering from Delhi Tech, okay, the university in New Delhi, India. Okay, you are incredibly good at this. You work with Citrix, you work with Vitronics, and a lot of people don't, if I put myself in this group, really don't have the same computer power that you have, so to speak. You understand this stuff intrinsically, okay? And all this is here. It's here. It's part of our world. You can fight it all you want, but it's here. Okay, just like the sun rises every day, the technology is here in ChatGPT. Yeah, so we have to use it. All right, and people are dependent on technology these days. Hence, okay, your idea, okay, in your company, okay, to create a tool, Parent Square again, okay, to enhance parent engagement, and of course that really helps, as we know, especially dealing. Well, you're from another country, dealing with people from a different culture, etc. It really helps to break down the barriers, using the technology, enhancing the equity, and doing more and more with parent engagement, which is so important these days. Okay, as I say, the world is changing. We have to get used to it, etc. And on that note, okay, Anu, talk about and. You started this, and I know it's a great idea for a company, but believe me, you started this when your kids were young. You saw a need there, okay? It wasn't something that came, it might have come out of the clear blue sky. It didn't come out of the clear blue sky. There was a reason you started this. You saw something. Talk about that. How'd you start the company? You saw the need for using technology, your background, and creating better family engagement. Just talk about that at the very, very beginning. What happened?
Yeah, so, it's very interesting because, as you said, I'm from a different country, so I hadn't gone through the school system here. And, when my child started school, I was still working. But, after a while, I actually took some time off from working. And that's when I realized that the connection, that when you can go pick up your child after school and the talk with the teacher that happens there, how much more when you are involved, the child benefits from that education. And, that was the time when there was Facebook that was there. You could pay your bills online. You could do, your reading online. But somehow the schools were still sending paper home that, we as busy working parents were missing all the time. And so I felt that, hey, there has to be a better way in schools, and not knowing how the school sort of industry works here. I guess if I had known, I would not have tried something, because not like literally for the first 4 years, I was just learning how to get to schools to, to adopt Parent Square because it was a change. It was a change going from the one-way communication out to the families to a more two-way inclusive dialogue with the parents, and also just changing all the paper going home so that everybody at school could be on the same platform. So, as we first started, we realized that it's not just enough to reach families who have email and use email, because not a lot of families are using email and not a lot of families even have an email.
That's right.
So it was very important, to be just as equal on phones. Thankfully, this was the time when a lot of smartphones were proliferating and becoming really ubiquitous everywhere. But even then, we realized that we have to do it just with texting. And even today, there are families who don't have a smartphone, and we communicate to them 100% via texting. So,
Yeah, I'm curious. Actually, you brought up something just then that struck me. When you created Parent Square, okay, and you just said, it kind of replaces the standard email communication, so to speak. Okay, what is it actually doing? Okay, you thought, and Anu, I know you thought this through very well. How is it? Let me ask you more directly. How is it enhancing? Okay, what we're trying to do with parents and parent engagement. When a school district signs on, what are they getting? Okay, that helps them build the relationship with the parents. Because, and again, I'm going to say this. I don't know you well, but I know you already, and you thought this through. Okay, there's a difference here. Okay, go ahead.
So really, the first need is to understand that as a parent, you are getting information from so many different sources that it's really not possible to make sense of all that information when you're a parent working 2 jobs a day, or when you're a parent who's not very tech savvy, or there's a parent with cultural differences. So really what the platform does is it brings all communications to parents under one streamlined platform. So be it from the district that is trying to reach parents for something important like filling a form and about their getting education to their child, or it's the school office or the principal at the school who's really wanting to build that community, the teachers in the classroom who want to promote learning at home, the PTA, who's really trying to work hard to create that community so everybody can be on the same platform, communicating with parents, and the parents can communicate back. So that is really important. And that's really the first thing that it does is for a parent, they feel like they belong to the school.
It's so important. I want to get back to something else that a lot of people just don't understand our school system. Okay, this helps. Okay, it's a one-stop deal. Okay, and I know you're working with a lot of school districts out there. What are you hearing back? And I know some of this is on your website. What are you hearing back from the school districts? Okay, that are using Parent Square? Talk about it.
So the school districts that use Parent Square, actually, they begin by comparing Parent Square to one of the traditional tools. And I would say that traditionally, what was there in school districts was primarily the websites where you put information out, but parents have to go and actually read that information. So one, parents don't know when the information is updated, and two, that information is just not targeted. Like it's very tough for parents to keep pulling that information, right? And on the other hand, they had these mass notification traditional tools, which are like the robocalls that are going home that are only 1 or 2 or 3 people in the district who are responsible for it. So not a lot of information was reaching home. So come Parent Square in the middle of it. So we enable everybody in the school, like the health department, the librarian, the transportation team, the school offices, teachers, even student leaders within the community, so within the school. So everybody can now communicate and send information and expect that responsiveness and parents to know. So really the thing that district sees is just an uptick in the parents that are involved and bringing parents as partners to the school district. So that magic starts to happen. And we've seen it in school districts. There are people, you go to conferences and they talk with such bright eyes, and people come give you a hug like, hey, this has changed our district completely. Yeah. And you're able to engage those families who were really hard to reach earlier.
It's to me, in an age of technology, and I congratulate you for everything you've done with this. Okay, in an age of technology, we have to have the technological tools that make education easier, especially in this crazy time that we live in. Okay, It's just so darn important, and what you guys have done, okay, is allow this to happen. I'm curious, how did you, I have to ask you this, how did you get this started, all right, in terms of getting out to the school district? How did you meet school districts and all that? This was completely new to you folks, okay? You're a tech person, okay? You're not not a salesperson. You probably had salespeople, but this is from the beginning. You have to convince them not only of the concept of it, but also, of the product itself. Okay, how'd you start that out? That's amazing. You're going to be a hero to a zillion entrepreneurs by the time we're done here.
Yes. Obviously, I saw the need, and we are a husband-wife team. So my husband's also a computer engineer, and so I pitched the idea to my husband, and he really liked it. He said, okay, before we start building it, you have to first find schools who would be willing to buy this. So I went to the principal at my kid's school, and little did I know that charter schools could make their own decisions, right? So they could, I pitched it to the principal. She actually loved the idea. I prepared a slide deck, and I showed it to her, and she said, okay, here are 3 teachers. Talk to them and build your product. So from the get-go, we had the principal and 3 teachers, and, it took us about 3 months to launch the initial platform, which had the two-way communication, again, kind of like, it was kind of a social platform like Facebook to begin with. And, it had the school directory, so parents could see who the other parents in their own child's classroom were. And when the teacher sent out messages, they could comment and respond to messages. So we launched that, and it was very, very successful because everybody could communicate, which they had earlier to rely on paper. But then we realized that some teachers were still hesitating. So I went and talked to them, and they were like, you know what? This program only reaches families in English. And so what can we do about it? So we were like, yes, let's study that. And that time, Google was just coming out with their neural translation. What that does is instead of phrase-based translation, it actually took the whole sentence and context into account. So we did those translations, and we were sending out, and then we learned that, hey, it's not perfect. So I attended a lot of ELAC meetings and took help from them, and they said, hey, if you can include the English version after the Spanish version, then we can perhaps ask our child, like, hey, if we don't understand something, but we really like it that we are getting something, and we're getting it at the same time as the other families, because believe it or not, somehow the English parents used to get information before the Spanish-speaking parents. So,
wow.
So,
wow.
That was, so it was like, the parents were saying even some translation is better than no translation, and which is actually, the translations have become a lot better now after like 11 years or so. But it still stands. We still, whenever we send anything translated, we also send the English version along with it, so parents can ask their child.
That's good.
They don't understand.
That's good.
Anything.
How many languages? now?
So it's crazy. It's about 130 plus languages, and many
of
our
crazy.
school districts.
It's not crazy. Okay, I was talking actually to a district this morning. I was mentioning before in San Mateo, California, and she described her as a Foster. I think it's Foster City, San Mateo, and which is near where you guys are. And she and Kristen described her district. Okay, and she went down a whole list. Okay, of various nationalities that go to that school district. All right. And it was absolute from Brazilian to the Philippines to and any language in between that you could think of. Okay, so when you say you have over 100 languages that this works, you have to have it these days. And I don't care if you're in San Francisco or outside of Des Moines, Iowa. Okay, people are coming from everywhere. All right, and
Absolutely.
they have their own language background. And although they believe me, I know that immigration people do want to learn English. They really do. Okay. But we have to communicate them while they're learning it, okay? And we have to respect the wonderful backgrounds that they have and understand that the schools want to talk to them, all right? The thing is, many cultures, the schools don't want to talk to people. They just do their thing, and the kid comes home, and that's the end of it. That's not an American school system. And people come from another country, they're not going to go to the website because they don't think the school district even wants them to. But when you're actually taking charge, okay, and sending them the messages that they're going to come up on their cell phones or on their computers, it just makes so much difference. And the other thing about Parent Square is that, and I believe this is correct, the school district can see what everybody's doing, okay, in terms of communication. It's not some private thing. The school district, so it helps. So God forbid something happens to a teacher, they can go right on, etc. It just makes so much sense in an age of technology. I hope I didn't steal your whole sales pitch there, but it just makes so much sense to every school district. It's just so important.
Yes. But again, the first 4 years when we started, so Parent Square, so we are based in Santa Barbara, which, sounds very fancy, but believe it or not, the school districts here have the same challenges. The district has
Absolutely.
about 52%.
And yes, it is a beautiful place. It is a beautiful place.
Yeah. So it's so even here there are school districts which are 90% free and reduced lunch, where and there are and not a lot, 52% English language learners, and so we were. We were very fortunate, I feel, to have that representative sample, but have that small community as well. So what happened was that within a couple of years, it spread locally to every single school. Again, not the district yet, but all schools had adopted Parent Square, sort of, because they had learned how powerful this was.
It is powerful.
And slowly, it went to the district, and the district decided that, yes, it's time to look at it. And, they helped us build district versions. They were very, we were working with them all the time. Hey, what is it that you need? How can we help? So even today, to this date, we are, still making technology work better. Like even that language translation, like we've gone so much more ahead. Like we do two-way translation instantly, which a lot of other tools also are doing. But at this time, we are still studying with ELAC families. Hey, how can we make it better for you?
Yeah, and you make it better every day. You do. Are you going to be at the ISTE conference? Do you go to that? I don't know if you go to that one. I'm just curious, so we can tell people.
We do. I used to personally attend ISTE, and then the pandemic happened, and then I sort of stopped going. We don't have a booth presence there usually. We tend to do smaller conferences where we can talk to people more than the larger conferences.
ISTE is rather gigantic. I won't be going this year either.
Yeah.
Okay, 30,000 people in 500-600 booths. Okay, and I do, it's nice to go to these smaller conferences that are regional. I agree with you. Okay, and really have a chance to talk to people. I agree.
We do. I think we do almost or over 100 conferences. It's crazy how many we do. But
wow.
But they're all
I got to tell you,
and regional.
Yeah, and Anu, you won one of our equity awards. I mean, you are an equity company. Okay, and what you're doing, and again, you come from a different cultural background. Okay, it's hard for anyone to move to a new place. okay, especially a new country. All right. And you guys make it so much easier. Parent Square makes it so much easier for a school district to relate to the parents. It's really an equity product. Okay. Mm-hmm. And even for people who were born and raised here generation after generation, school districts and technology and communications are changing. Okay. And school districts have to change with the times. They're trying. Believe me, they're trying. You know that. Okay. But when a new product comes along, and I love the way, you know, it started, you went to a school, you made it work. You guys are just doing fantastic work. And you should be very proud of everything you and your team, okay, have accomplished with this product. It's really fantastic. I thank you. It's great.
Thank you. Yeah, no, wonderful. So you have other questions, or would you want me to talk more? Or?
Well, no, I think we're just about done, but I just got to tell you, there are so many things. I'll just wind up this way. You're a female entrepreneur who saw a need, okay, knows technology, brought it to a school district, listened to the school district, showed how to work. And now how many schools are you in now? How many schools?
Oh my God! So I think it's like 19,000 something. It's just
think
crazy.
About that.
So we serve over like 8 million students in the country right now.
It's not only 8 million students; it's probably 6 million families. Okay, that you're working with, and that's going to make it all the better. So. Anu, it's been so enjoyable. You are really just something, I got to tell you. I'm glad you won one of our awards. You folks are pretty darn good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Larry. It was a
great.
pleasure being on the talk show.
It's a pleasure. You're welcome here anytime, believe me. Okay, we'll talk some more, okay? And thank you.
Thank you.
Okay? Thanks, Anu. You take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Wow, what a super lady. Okay? That's Anu Vaid. Okay, he was the founder and president of Parent Square at parentsquare.com. So important on so many levels: technology, female entrepreneurship, okay, family engagement, okay. And school districts have to understand this is the way you have to communicate these days, because it's here. That's all there is to it, okay. When I was a kid, the teacher used to give me a piece of paper and it'd get crumpled into my school bag. No more. Okay. Parentsquare.com. Check it out. We're going to archive just the same place we have all our Equity Awards information, our magazine, and all our podcasts at ace-ed.org. My name's Larry Jacobs. Thanks for listening.